Herzlich willkommen beim Podcast Insights bei Boris Gloger. Boris unterhält sich mit seinen Gästen über Nachhaltigkeit, Unternehmensgründung, Startups und weitere spannende Themen. Boris Gloger ist Autor, Vordenker für neue Arbeitsformen, Scrum-Pionier und Eigentümer der Boris Gloger Consulting GmbH.
Hello, everybody. For my podcast episode today, I will talk with my English teacher, Stuart Simpson. Stuart,
hello, Boris.
Thanks for having me. And can you please tell us a little bit about you and your business and who are you?
Who am I? That's what everybody wants to know. Yes, I'm an Englishman. Repeat English, not Scottish, because there is a Scottish Stuart Simpson in Vienna, and sometimes people ring me thinking I'm the other guy.
Okay.
So I'm the English one. And I came here about 21 years ago with the idea of learning a little bit of German and then moving to Spain. And I'm still here. The question is, am I still here because I didn't learn German or because I like Vienna?
Maybe. But what made you stick in Vienna?
It's a nice place. It's friendly, hot in summer, cold in winter, not too big, not too small, not too expensive. It's basically, it seems to fit my lifestyle.
Okay.
So I'm happy to stay here.
Yeah, when we came together, I wanted to learn a little bit of English, and I'm still not very good in that. So maybe you, that's not true. But
No.
But Stuart, what is your special? Also, no, let's talk. I typically try to interview founders of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So what made them creating their business? So what was your idea of running your own business? I mean, you have been. It's the special force, no, not the special force, the Air Force.
Air Force, correct.
The English version of the Air Force.
Yeah, that's right, the English version. Okay, well, I left the Air Force after 9 years. It was very entertaining, I have to say, but I left after 9 years to study international business at university. And why choose international business? It's simple. When I was sitting in the crew room, the Air Force crew room, waiting to fix airplanes, and I was reading newspapers, I realized I was reading the business and marketing pages. So then I thought, oh, I should maybe study this at university level. So I left the Air Force, studied business, aged 27, went to university in England and Spain. And then basically I worked for various companies opening up their markets within Europe. And that was good fun. But I then decided at some point, maybe it's a good idea to set up my own business, be my own boss, and have the freedom to make my own decisions, right or wrong, good or bad, but basically to enjoy the benefits or suffer the consequences of my own decisions. So here I am in my 11th year of teaching, and with no regrets when the computer works.
That's the other story.
That's the other story.
And Stuart Simpson and his laptop. But give me a sec. So you started 11 years. How have been the very first months and years? Was it easy to start a business?
Setting up the business in Austria is not the same as it is in setting it up in England, for example. In England, it's just it takes 24 hours and costs, or it used to cost, £25. Okay. In Austria, you seem to have to run all over Vienna, get signatures from all sorts of departments. It takes about 10 weeks and it costs a lot more than 25, whatever. Yeah. So that's a bit of a setback. But if you're prepared to go that far, then obviously you're prepared to be an entrepreneur and go the full distance. So that was the initial problem. And then obviously you need a website, otherwise you don't have any, nobody can find you basically. So that was another thing. What do you put on your website? And then you need some expert help because you don't need to write the wrong things. It has to work for Google. So there's a lot to think about. Finding clients. How do you find clients? Hopefully they find you. The easy way would be with Google if you get your search engine optimization right. Otherwise, I started off with flyers. I basically went around supermarkets and shops, and I thought, we'll get started immediately. People go shopping, people see notices, people call you, and then they recommend you further if you're good enough. So it's word of mouth, and satisfied customers, basically.
How long did it take you to become to get your first customers?
I mean, the first customer, I'm sure, was a private customer, somebody I knew, and I'm sure it was literally on day one.
Okay.
The first company, funnily enough, was within, I think, 4 weeks. But that wasn't because of Google. That was because they found my flyer in a supermarket in what was it? Where's your location? What's it called? 4th District, your street?
Yep.
Yeah, that one. So
that's
there
crazy.
you go. Yeah, crazy. So literally 4 weeks to get my first company client, corporate client.
Yeah, and your business is called English4Professionals. Why for professionals? So what is the basic differentiator of you and Berlitz?
Oh, am I allowed to say this?
Of course.
Of course. Okay. There are many trainers out there. There are many people who call themselves trainers.
Yeah.
As I would say, there are many backpackers from maybe Australia touring through Europe, and they want to earn some pocket money. And then they think, okay, teaching English is the easy option. But the problem is they're not trainers. They're not English teachers. And when you challenge them, they have no knowledge of grammar whatsoever. They're native speakers. But if you ask for an explanation of why you say something in simple past and not present perfect, then they look at you with a sort of completely lost expression. So that's the problem. There are many trainers, so-called trainers, and many companies who are not necessarily satisfied with the service that they've received. And I wanted to be at the top end, sort of the Rolls-Royce end of the market, have proper clients, good clients, quality clients, people with serious issues like they're applying for an important job. All jobs are important. They want to get that job. They want to give a really good presentation or whatever. And it's important for them to do it right, especially first time, because first impression counts. And therefore I decided, yes, there are many providers on the market, some famous big names. But here's the problem. If you're a really big, famous company and everybody calls you, then you have to provide the trainers to cover the demand.
Yeah.
And if you can't get those trainers, you have to get them from somewhere. And then you start looking for trainers who are not necessarily trainers. So I'm not at that scale. I don't even intend to be at that scale. I intend to provide quality, not quantity. So a small group of trainers who are all university qualified, experienced English trainers with the confidence and the ability to explain to the client why it's A and not B, and also to help them get through interviews and presentations and get the job and succeed and maybe make more money.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And that was what I figured out when we talked about everything. And that's the crazy part of our work together that impressed me so much. We talked about the Air Force. We talked about, I don't know, political, Boris Johnson.
Oh yeah. Brexit.
Yeah, Brexit and all
Scottish
of this.
independence.
Yes, and it's really crazy. So how do you prepare for a client, or what is the so why are you able to talk about Brexit and all these other topics? I mean, it's not like using an English grammar book and then we go through, I don't know,
page one, exercise one. Yeah, exactly. Not at all. I don't even have page one, exercise one. Every client is different. I mean, there are some who need page one, exercise one, because they really cannot say, my name is, okay. There are those, okay, they're special cases, but most people can at least get through a basic conversation, maybe A2 standard, but that's not good enough to survive the interview or get through a decent presentation. How to help them? Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody has a different need. My clients change literally every hour. I could be with a doctor, I could be with a dentist, an engineer, another teacher, a scientist, a guru, IT expert, whoever, whatever. I can't be an expert in all those subjects. It's impossible, and I would never claim to be. What I can do, my forte is obviously business, marketing, that sort of thing. Basically, I ask the client to educate me. I say, okay, I'm the stupid guy. Tell me what you do and how does it work? And we'll work on that as a basis. We'll change the vocabulary, change the verbs, make it sound a little bit nicer and more professional, more fluent. And we just keep adding bits to it and then going over and repeating. So it's not that I can offer maybe, I don't know, a law book page one, exercise one to a lawyer, because they're already qualified lawyers.
Yeah.
They just want to talk about their thing in English with the right pronunciation. And that's what it's about. So I'm not a specialist in everything. That's impossible. I'm maybe a generalist, but I like talking about business and the political things, you know, the big picture. Why did we attack Libya but not Syria? That sort of thing. What's the UN for? What does it do or what doesn't it do? Why do we spend so much money on things and never see a result? Is it spent the right way? Are we wasting our time and money? Are we looking in the wrong direction? These sort of things.
I mean, explain a little bit about, I mean, the British soul to us, please. I mean, because I ask you these kind of things because I sometimes had the feeling, is exactly as you said in our sessions, it was kind of it is a kind of a coaching session because I explained to you what is my office really running. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, you taught me a big deal about the British soul and the political circumstances that you have or that you face. And so what is the at the moment in Great Britain, what is the big deal at the moment? What is the big topic?
This is what I don't understand about things from the European's perspective. When I talk to somebody in Europe or I read in the newspapers in Europe, I'm thinking they don't get it. They don't get the British perspective. They think they do. They get the Reuters translation and they translate it into their own language, but they don't get the feeling, the pub feeling. And this is what I try to convey. You need to sit in a pub in Britain and have a pint and just chat to human beings, real people, real Brits at least. And then you get the feeling for the way the country thinks and feels. And that's maybe what I'm good at conveying. I mean, for the last 20 years, I've got the election result right. I got the Scottish referendum result right. And I got the Brexit referendum right. And nobody ever asked me, in my opinion. But I give it voluntarily and free of charge.
You could bet. I mean,
I could and should. I could make a lot of money doing it, but I never do. Yeah.
So what is the British soul? What is the pub, the pint drinker in the pub talking about, and what is this?
What's he talking? Okay, what's he talking about right now? If we take today's news, if we take the French and the fish, because you know, the French are our best friends and all the rest of it. So Macron has a problem because he's a bit of a what's the word? He gets angry easily. Yeah, and you can wind him up quite quickly. And he has obviously got an election coming soon, so he wants to win some points and hopefully get elected. So he thinks that by bashing the British and demanding more fishing licenses for his French fishermen, he'll get more votes at the election. And Boris Johnson is saying, look, we've been fair. We've done the rigorous testing. We give the licenses to those fishermen who can prove using GPS that they have been fishing in those waters traditionally for a certain period of time. And I think if the numbers are correct, the French have been issued with 17 fishing licenses. Macron would like something like, I don't know, 100. And Boris Johnson's government is saying, yeah, but the others can't prove that they've been fishing traditionally in those specific waters. So there's an argument going on that Macron is thinking of cutting off the electricity supply to Jersey. So
Wow.
they're
Really?
all going to wake
Yes.
up one day and everything in the freezer will be thawed out. No electricity, no TV, no radio, all the rest of it. And Boris Johnson would say, that's our friend and neighbor speaking here, who's going to cut the electricity off. Even the Germans didn't do that in the Second World War when they occupied Jersey. That's the pub conversation. That's the bit you'll hear. Even the Germans didn't do that in the Second World War. That's what you don't read in the press in Austria, for example, but what you will hear in the pub in Britain. So then the pub conversation expands, you know, who needs friends when your friends are like Macron? We're talking of one person here. The French people are nice. It's a political thing. But that's the way the conversation in the pub goes. It's sort of, yeah, the French are up to their tricks again, throwing their teddies out of the pram, as we would say.
But isn't that part of the thing that you explained to me is the British soul and like this underdog theme that the Brits usually, I mean, I won't say everybody, of course not, but usually say, we are the ones you can fight against us and we will always win, even if you are the small or the small guy.
Well, maybe we'd like to think that. Yeah, we're normally a placid country, pragmatic, placid, flexible, whatever. And we chill out and say, okay. As you can see with Brexit, nobody went onto the streets and threw Molotov cocktails. They just let the politicians get on with it, argue it all out, come to a conclusion and make a decision. Yeah. And nobody got hurt. Whereas maybe in France, you see every weekend the Gilets jaunes throwing Molotov cocktails in the street and protesting against, I don't know, everything basically. So the Brits are laid back and chilled, generally speaking. But when we get wound up, maybe, for example, by Brussels or by the French, then they bite. Boris isn't biting at the moment. That's the thing. The Brits are scratching their heads saying, why is Boris Johnson being so nice? You know, so many threats from Brussels, like Brussels is now threatening Poland with, well, sending them a 1 billion a day, no, 1 million a day bill, fine. And everybody's scratching their head thinking, why is Britain being so nice? Maybe it's just the way it is. Maybe we know it's just a political game. Maybe we can see through the rhetoric. Maybe we don't care. But generally speaking, we are a laid back nation until we really, really get annoyed. And then there's a huge explosion, normally a war.
Okay. On the other hand, I mean, let's give a couple of minutes about Brexit. I mean, what you read in the press is basically that the supermarkets in Great Britain are empty, the shelves are empty, and you don't have any truck drivers anymore. And
well, that bit's true.
Yeah, of course it's true. You don't have gas because you don't have gas drivers and gas truck drivers. So isn't it? On one hand, it might be true, but on the other hand, what does it to the British people? Do they now say, oh, we need to go beyond Brexit and we need to stop it, or is it the opposite?
That's an interesting point, because obviously the left-wing press, the I Love Remain or the I Love Europe newspapers in Britain say it's all because of Brexit that we don't have truck drivers. And then Europe shows images of people trying to fill their cars up with fuel and saying, you see, that's the consequence of Brexit. Whereas it seems, from what I've read at least, that there is a similar problem in many of the European countries. Germany, I think, needs 80,000 truck drivers in the next few years. Britain needs 60,000, but Germany's a little bit bigger. So, yeah, maybe it's on the same scale.
Yeah, it's a common problem. Basically, it's a real, the whole European Union. We have not enough truck drivers because it's
exactly
demanding economy, and the wages are not big enough.
Well, that's one issue, the wages, but it's even the more simple things in Britain. Like a French truck driver goes into a lay-by or whatever, a rest place, and has his coffee and his dinner and maybe even a glass of wine and can go to the toilet and have a shower. In Britain, for whatever strange reason, the infrastructure isn't there. The truck driver sleeps in his cab, doesn't have access to a shower, has to go to the toilet next to a tree. I mean, how bad does this get? What is going on? I thought Britain was a grown-up country, but obviously not. But these things are reality, and nobody wants to be a truck driver these days. So all those truckies who were maybe staying at home during COVID have decided that they've seen the light, and why should they get in their truck and travel for a month halfway around Europe when they can just stay at home and do something completely different, like, I don't know, work in an Amazon factory for the same money or something, and go home every night to their kids. And that's one issue. The other issue is political, in the sense that there are truckers out there who want to renew their license, have tried calling the DVLA or DVLC, whatever it's called, the licensing authority, who of course don't pick up the phone and don't answer the emails because they're all doing home office and they don't have the IT infrastructure at home to pick up the phone and answer the emails. So the truckers who could be working can't get their licenses renewed. And then when you look a little bit deeper, it turns out that it's a union issue, because the unions are Labour, pro-Labour, anti-conservative. And they know that if all these people are working at home and not renewing licenses, then there are no truckers. And if there are no truckers, there's no Christmas turkey or fuel. And if there's none of that, then Boris Johnson gets the blame, which is what the unions want. But of course, that's a long story. And are you going to read that in, I don't know, the Austrian press? Probably not.
Not in the Austrian press, not even the German press. It's talking about these kind of things.
So you've really got to read the small print and get the idea, the feeling that this is maybe a union-inspired game to blame Boris for Brexit. Yeah, why not?
But isn't that tightening into your favorite topic of conspiracies? I mean,
conspiracies. I go on facts, Boris.
Yeah, I know.
A conspiracy is it sounds good, maybe it's true. I work on the theory that it is true, it did happen, and now we have the evidence at last after many years of silence. Yeah, not quite the same.
That's true. Stuart,
you've lost it.
No. Besides the fact that, of course, if someone wants to learn English, you can call you. That's obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
But what is the thing you would advise to someone who says, I need to train my English a bit? What is from your point of view something everybody could do to improve his or her English speaking skills? Besides going to you, of course. So what is the thing everybody can do?
The thing that doesn't cost anything at all, basically, is to watch television, your favorite TV. If you're a policeman and you want police vocabulary, then basically go and watch the equivalent in Britain of Commissar Rex. I mean, there are TV cops, what do you call it, Cobra or whatever it is. There's the British version. You get it on YouTube. It's free. Hundreds, thousands of episodes full of police vocabulary. If you're a lawyer, there's the, whatever it is, the LA law version in Britain. You get the British English version. It costs nothing. But okay, that's a free way of doing it. You've got the BBC podcasts and all the news. You can get the news on the hour, every hour. What you don't understand the first time, you can repeat an hour later, and you can enhance your vocabulary and pronunciation that way. Costs nothing. Reading, obviously, read your favorite topics. If you don't do Shakespeare in any language, then don't read it.
Yeah.
I read business things. I don't read Shakespeare. I'm a native, but I don't read Shakespeare. Why should I? I mean, I've got better things to read. Sorry.
Oh, come on, Shakespeare.
No, it's whatever. He's okay. No, but I do topics that interest me, because you've only got a certain number of hours in the day and maybe only a certain number of minutes. And instead of overdosing on chocolate and then being sick, and I use that as an example, it's better to just read a little bit, maybe 20 minutes every day, because that's consistency and it helps. If you do an intensive 5-day course, it's fine if you have no choice because you've got a deadline, an interview or a presentation. But if you're just saying, I want to, over a period of time, improve my English, get it up a level or two, then my suggestion is, okay, a little bit of television every day, a little bit of reading, just 15 minutes is enough. A lesson obviously costs money normally, but there maybe are free teachers out there. But basically a lesson when necessary. Otherwise, the free version is just reading and listening to podcasts and watching your favorite TV shows.
Super interesting idea, and that's I can only agree to that idea. Just to immerse yourself with some language, whatever it is, Chinese, Portuguese, English, whatever it is, just to do a little bit every day. And even it's not every day, every second day, whatever it.
And if you're really keen, I would suggest, if you've got internet radio and you listen to the radio, you just turn the lights off, pretend you're blind, and listen in darkness to the debate. And that helps because you're really focused on what you're hearing, because you're not looking at things and being distracted. And if you go another step further and pretend that you're an interpreter, you can literally hear what they're saying in English, my name is, and I have a dog, and you repeat it, my name is, I have a dog. And at the same time, wait for the next sentence that they're going to come up with. That's really hard work and focusing, but that's what interpreters have to do. So you can sit at home on the couch, listen to the radio, and just repeat what you're hearing and go insane, and it costs nothing.
It's a little bit like kids start to learn languages, right? I mean,
they just learn and listen, and they're learning from even before they're born. They're in the womb, listening to maybe the Mozart that's being played outside. They're listening to their mother's heart beating. So they're already listening. And there have been studies, your child develops in a certain way, and an influence on that is what sort of music was played in the living room, the bedroom, at home, even before they were born. So great. Music helps.
Even if learning languages like bus rolling, what was kid chords, rolling bus, anyway,
whatever.
A lot of kids songs.
Yep, they are good, especially for kids, because you memorize songs. Because they've got the lyrics and it rhymes and it's fun. So whether it's Old MacDonald had a farm,
Old MacDonald had a farm.
And there you go, you can sing it, and you know it. So
super.
That's what I would go for: music, TV, podcasts, and pretend you're an interpreter with the lights out on the couch and a glass of whatever, beer or a cup of tea.
Super. Keep calm and drink a cup of tea.
That's right.
Stuart, thank you very much for your time. And
a pleasure.
And this episode of my podcast.
A pleasure. And
thank you.
We'll speak next time. Okay, Boris.
Bye.
Bye.
Diese und weitere Podcast-Folgen findest du auf Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube und natürlich auf der Website www.insights-bei-borisgloger.com. Boris Gloger Consulting ist deine agile Strategieberatung. Besuch uns auf der Website www.borisgloger.com.